Hi, my name is Ben Corno and I'm the co-owner operator of Heavenly Roots Farm with my partner Kaylee Barton. And we farm on Salt Spring Island, BC. We've been using cover crops for probably 5 years now. We maybe didn't do it the first year or two. We were really just keeping it together in the first couple of years, but as soon as I think we thought we could, we got into it. We started just using a blended oat pea vetch, which is pretty common, readily available at most farm stores. We switched over to just using a really thick cover of oats, and last year we started using red clover in sort of companion with them, so the oats are taking the upper portion and the clover is growing in the bottom, and then in the springtime we get them both kind of exploding again. I really like the clover because of how dense it gets, and that's something that the oats doesn't do as well. The oats can leave a lot of space where perennial weeds or weeds that are growing from the root can still sort of pop up and do their thing, whereas it seems like the clover is very, very thick. We spend a little bit of extra money on the clover and buy a lot of it and put down a lot, but I think it feels like the right choice for us. In the springtime, we will let our cover crops grow until about mid-March, beginning of April, and then we'll cut them down and we cover them with a tarp, and we give that about, let's say 2 weeks to 3 weeks underneath of a piece of landscape fabric. At that point, usually most of it has decomposed, and we can now start to build beds in those spaces. The first couple of years we used cover crops, we had not yet transitioned to a no-till or low-till growing style, so we were doing something which I now consider very silly, which is growing cover crop, tilling them into the ground, and then growing in that, and that sort of was probably not getting us a really thick layer of biomass, rather just putting biomass into the 1 foot soil horizon. Now that we're doing the no-till growing concept, it seems very important to have a nice thick mat of the cover crop in the springtime to begin growing with. We use cover crops because it has multiple benefits to our farm. Biggest benefit has got to be probably covering the soil through the winter time. Landscape fabric on everything would be both expensive and not really adding much to the soil. So having something that's absorbing the impact of the rain, stopping soil erosion, and keeping the compost and nutrients that we put down in the summertime, having that stuff, holding onto that stuff is very valuable. Definitely we notice that it has a positive impact on our soil, porosity, so not very hardened and dense soil in the springtime. The stuff where the cover crop was going is usually very loose, so when we sink a pitchfork or a broad fork into it, we can really notice that. Also then, when we do cut it down and decompose it, we're basically adding to what's called the thatch layer and helping to start build an annual community of decomposing plant material, which obviously bugs and microorganisms and funguses enjoy to live in. And we've only been at the no-till concept for 2 years, or yeah, about 2 years, and we can already see that those layers are building up, and when we go to broad fork into something, we can see the fine fungal layer that's starting to build up, and it's really when worms are in there, bugs are in there, and it's just really obvious that this is what we're going for. So for us now, cover crop is a big part of that plan to get all of those things happening at the right time in the year.